Number 10. London's Walkie-Talkie Building. 20 Fenchurch Street is a 38-story skyscraper located in London. The building earned the nickname Walkie-Talkie due to its distinctive, top-heavy appearance. For something that cost us $330 million, it better look good, right? There's just one hiccup. While it was still being built, a guy left his car opposite the building. About 2 hours later, he found out that a few parts of his car had melted. Temperature readings at street level range from 91 to 117 degrees Celsius, earning the building a new nickname, Walkie Scorchy. Businesses were affected, including a barber shop that got its carpets scorched. A journalist even fried an egg by placing the pan on a window pane. As it turns out, the building acts as a concave mirror, focusing light into the streets when the sun shines into it. To alleviate the inferno, the developer solved the problem by installing a permanent sunshade in the building. The price? A whopping $10 million. However, this is not the first time a similar problem has occurred. In 2010, the Vidara Hotel in Las Vegas also had sunlight reflection issues. Weirdly, the hotel's designer was the same guy behind the Walkie Scorchy building. Apparently, some people make the same mistake twice. Number 9. Fat French Trains. In 2009, France's state-owned train company SNCF ordered 2,000 new trains to upgrade the country's railway network. The new trains, priced at $20.5 billion, were slated to go into service in 2016, but there is a problem. A big one. SNCF discovered that the trains they ordered were too wide for a lot of stations. Further investigation revealed that the national rail operator RFF gave SNCF the dimensions of stations built 30 years ago. The new trains turned out to be 1 to 2 centimeters too big for stations made more than 50 years ago. However, SNCF wasn't off the hook either. Allegedly, they failed to send engineers to double-check the dimensions. Regardless of whoever is at fault, the blunder was a huge waste of money. To fix the problem, 1,300 platforms had to be repaired at a price of $70 million. Much to the horror of the French taxpayers. Number 8. Mars Climate Orbiter. $125 million. Just because NASA is at the cutting edge of technology doesn't mean they are immune to mistakes. On December 11, 1998, they launched the Mars Climate Orbiter, a robotic space probe tasked with studying Martian atmosphere, climate, and surface. It was also designed to serve as the Mars Polar Lander's communication relay. Aside from 4 course corrections, it seemed that nothing would stop the spacecraft from achieving its mission. The Mars Climate Orbiter was supposed to reach orbit on September 23, 1999, 286 days into its journey. However, as the spacecraft went into orbital insertion, NASA lost communications with it. The spacecraft went 100 kilometers closer to Mars than intended, causing it to fall into the Martian atmosphere and disintegrate. Further investigation revealed that the failure was due to a navigational error that resulted from a measurement mismatch. The spacecraft builder, Lockheed Martin, used the Imperial system, while NASA used the metric system. Who knew something so basic could cause the loss of $125 million worth of equipment? Number 7. Titanic. History and popular culture had taught us that the Titanic had met its demise in 1912 due to the captain going too fast, causing it to fail from avoiding an iceberg. While the captain's actions undoubtedly contributed to the incident, there are more factors involved. In 1985, an oceanographer named Robert Ballard found the remains of the Titanic and was surprised to discover that the ship had broken in half before sinking. This discovery raised the argument that the mishap was caused by low-quality steel in the ship's construction. However, further tests revealed that it wasn't the case. So what really made the supposedly unsinkable Titanic sink? Scientists Jennifer McCarty and Tim Folke found out that the rivets used for the ship's bow and stern were made from iron, while the other parts used steel rivets. Moreover, they discovered that the iron rivets contained copious amounts of slag, which made metal more prone to fracture. So when the ship hit the iceberg, the bow's iron rivets could have popped out, opening seams in the hull and flooding the ship's watertight components. In the end, skimping out on small things resulted in a loss equal to $400 million in today's money. If not for the mishap, Jack and Rose could have grown old together. Number 6. Tacoma Narrows Bridge. The Tacoma Narrows Bridge was created to connect Tacoma and the Kitsap Peninsula. Supposedly, the bridge was to be built using a conventional suspension bridge design by Washington State engineer Clark Eldridge. However, the Golden Gate Bridge designer Leon Moiseev proposed a cheaper and more elegant design, which used 2.4-meter plate girders instead of 7.6-meter trusses based on Eldridge's design, undercutting Eldridge's design by $3 million. Moiseev's design only required $8 million, which is equal to $147 million in today's money. Unsurprisingly, the authorities went for the cheaper option. However, during the bridge construction, it oscillated vertically during windy conditions, an issue that plagued it even when it finally opened to the public on July 1, 1940. At that time, the Tacoma Narrows Bridge was the third longest suspension bridge in the world, but it only held the record for 4 months. On the fateful day of November 7, 1940, the bridge collapsed in a 64-km/h wind. Apart from a dog, there were no casualties. However, there's zero doubt that the bridge is an expensive engineering failure with lasting effects on science and engineering. Reminder, by the way, let us know if you like what you're seeing so far by giving us a thumbs up. And if you want to watch more intriguing contents like this, do yourselves a favor and subscribe. Thanks a lot. Now let's get back in. Number 5. Oroville Dam, standing 770 feet tall. The Oroville Dam is the tallest dam in the United States. In 2005, environmental advocacy groups raised concerns with the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, or FERC for short, about using the dam's emergency spillway, which could cause erosion on the hillside. The groups urged to require the dam's spillway to be lined with concrete. However, FERC deemed the concerns were overblown. Fast forward to January 2017, a spillway was opened to relieve pressure from the dam. On February 9, 2017, the spillway suffered from concrete and foundation erosion. To control the damage, the operators reduced water flow, but the reservoir level kept rising. 4 days later, the emergency spillway was used for the first time. However, even the emergency spillway began eroding, posing a risk of the collapse of the concrete weir. In order to slow down the damage on the emergency spillway, the flow over the main spillway was increased. As a precaution, 188,000 people from the nearby areas were evacuated. Thankfully, the countermeasure helped lower the reservoir level, stopping the emergency spillway from overflowing. While the disaster has been prevented, the cost for repairs and recovery is catastrophic, costing $1.1 billion. If only FERC had listened, this incident might have been prevented. Number 4. Jeddah Tower. The Jeddah Tower in Saudi Arabia is planned to be the world's first 1-kilometer tower. Once completed, it will dethrone UAE's Burj Khalifa as the tallest building in the world. Speaking of which, the Jeddah Tower's head designer is the same as the Burj Khalifa. Moreover, the construction is funded by Al-Walid bin Talal, one of the wealthiest people in the world and a member of the Saudi royal family. His company Kingdom Holding Co. holds a 33% stake in the building. At this point, the building seems very promising. But what in the world is it doing in this list? The building was supposed to be finished in 2018, but the project hit a major roadblock. Al-Walid got arrested during the Saudi Arabian political purge of 2017. Moreover, the project's main contractor, Saudi Bin Laden Group, was also in a tight spot when its chairman was also arrested. Although the project resumed in 2018, it was still plagued with delays. Then in 2020, everything came to a standstill due to the pandemic since no one could go to work. As of 2017, the building stands at 252 meters or about a third of the target height. So far, there's no end sight for the project. But if it does get cancelled, $1.23 billion will go down the drain. Number 3. Berlin-Brandenburg Airport. The Berlin-Brandenburg Airport in Germany was slated to replace the aging airports in Tempelhof, Schönfeld, and Tegel. It was said to be a massive undertaking when construction began in 2006. And it is. For starters, the airport's original design had no shop allocations because the architect behind it isn't fond of shopping. Realizing that having no shops is terrible for business, planners expanded the building from 200,000 square meters to 340,000 square meters. The Berlin-Brandenburg Airport was initially scheduled to open in 2011. But just a few days after it celebrated its topping out. The opening was rescheduled on June 3, 2012 due to one of the contractors going bankrupt. However, 1 month before the new opening date, it was denied opening approval due to concerns over fire safety and smoke exhaust systems. In addition, inspectors found automatic doors that do not work, sagging roofs, malfunctioning lights, and 170,000 kilometers of faulty wiring. The airport was also plagued with corruption, as workers stole materials and sold them in the market. Moreover, the person responsible for awarding contracts during the airport's construction was alleged to have demanded a €500,000 bribe from a contractor. The opening got delayed a few more times until on October 31, 2020, the Berlin-Brandenburg airport finally opened its doors to commercial traffic. All in all, the project had been delayed for more than 9 years. Most painfully, it had proven to be a huge money pit, with the cost exceeding to the original budget by $5.5 billion. What happened to German efficiency? Number 2. Mexico TEXCOCO Airport. In 2014, Mexico's President Enrique Peña Nieto announced plans to build the Mexico City TEXCOCO Airport. It was supposed to replace Benito Juárez International Airport, the busiest airport in Latin America. The airport's development was planned in 4 stages. Stage 1, scheduled to open in 2020, was intended to accommodate 68 million passengers annually. By 2065, the airport would have accommodated 125 million passengers per year. While construction began in 2015, it wasn't finished due to the current president of Mexico, Andrés Manuel López Obrador. During his presidential campaign in 2018, he made clear that he would axe the project, which he deemed too expensive and riddled with corruption. To save money, he chose to build an airport at the Santa Lucia Air Force Base. A few weeks after he took the presidential seat, construction of the Mexico City Texcoco Airport came to a halt. At this point, 1/3 of the Phase 1 plan had already been completed. While President Obrador claimed that canceling the project would only cost $5 billion, an audit revealed that the actual cost is within the ballpark of $16 billion. Ouch. Number 1. Chernobyl Nuclear Power Plant. The 1986 Chernobyl meltdown is among the worst catastrophes of the 20th century. At the center of this incident is the Chernobyl Nuclear Power Plant in Pripyat, Ukraine. Built during the 1970s and the 1980s, the plant houses 4 Soviet-designed RBMK-1000 nuclear reactors, which were plagued with design flaws rendering them unstable. Typical reactors use water for cooling and moderation of the nuclear core's reactivity. However, Chernobyl's reactors use graphite as a moderator and for keeping a continuous nuclear reaction. As a result, when operators try to reduce a reactor's power, the opposite happens. Moreover, the Chernobyl plant didn't have a containment building to confine radioactive materials in an accident. Even before the well-known meltdown, serious incidents had already occurred between 1982 to 1984. On April 26, 1986, operators planned to test whether Reactor 4 could still be cooled if the plant lost power. However, they turned off vital control systems, causing low power levels. Later on, an uncontrollable power surge occurred, which led to the devastating meltdown. While the official death toll stands at 31 people, the UN predicted in 2005 that 4,000 more might eventually die due to radiation exposure. In addition to the loss of life, the accident had also incurred $235 billion in damages. Scientists estimate that the site would remain inhospitable for 20,000 years. The construction fails we've just discussed aren't exactly built with matchsticks. We're talking about massive engineering feats with huge budgets. These fiascos only prove that even the best of us occasionally mess up and create a huge money pit. What do you think? Share your thoughts by commenting down below. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notifications to get front row seats to watch Canon's mind-blowing videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.